Welcome to your new favorite show. It's a People Problem on the Michigan Business Network. It's your host, Fathy Shetiah. In the last few segments, we talked about the storm of complexity that is going through to all of us. The noise, too much information, the distractions, and above all, technology. Today, I wanted to invite Mandy Mann from the 7C team to discuss some of the things that she's going through in her day-to-day life.
Well, it's been kind of a winding journey to get here, but I graduated from Central back in 2014 with a major in entrepreneurship and a minor in sign language, which is what led me to the Lansing area because they have an interpreting program over at LCC. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll be a sign language interpreter. Went through life changes at 25 after I graduated and everything and decided maybe I don't want to do that. Ended up working at Big B Coffee and honestly worked my way up over at our sister company, ABM. For about 8 years, I was doing that. My most recent position there was Director of Operations.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing today at 7C and how uniquely different from a communication perspective. Because again, communication is complex.
It is, absolutely. And I've noticed that right off the bat too. Communication in this line of work is very different than the retail space. Well, as an engagement strategist, I'm in charge of, I would say, the brand or the brand voice of 7C Lingo. So I'm working on a lot of our marketing materials as well as our recruitment and talent, kind of looking at the interpreter pool, the translator pool, and then really working on creating engaging materials for our audience, whether it is our clients or our current linguistic partners.
Mm-hmm.
So the communication that I see, the biggest difference is that in the retail world, and especially what I saw day to day, is you have to communicate so quickly. And sometimes you can't pause to think, whether you're trying to get through a rush if you're on the line or even trying to make an announcement that's super time sensitive. And it's not that things at 7C Lingo aren't time sensitive, but I just feel like I have an opportunity to really make sure that my message lands and is clear and I can think about who's receiving it. Whereas a lot of times in retail and quick service industry, you're kind of like, okay, did you get that latte? Don't drop that. That's really hot. Don't forget this. Where's this bagel?
So adjusting the communication style and probably how you listen and how you articulate the message probably has a lot of weight.
Yes, it does. It does. I feel like you're thinking a lot more about who's receiving that message. And it's not even in retail that you're not thinking about those things, but there's always kind of a very direct, like, this needs to happen right now, versus there's a little bit more space in our communication. Not that we don't work with customers real time, but I've just noticed that there's also that level of professionalism at 7C Lingo, that you're dealing with a lot of folks that are in a more professional setting than an entry-level workforce job.
Yeah. So from your perspective, when you talk about the different professions and the different communication styles, with everything that is going on in the world, noise, social media, technology, AI, how do you keep the human element alive?
Communication in general is inherently human. We were humans before we had the technology, I guess. And I mean, this may be some of my linguistic interest background coming out, but humans evolved to actually have language because it was that important to us.
Absolutely.
It's more of a hazard and a hindrance actually to have a mouth and to speak at the same time, like through the same mechanism. So we actually adapted historically to have language. So what I guess I'm trying to get at is that we keep creating technology to make communication easier or more accessible. And I think having so many options now actually can be a hindrance. People they either stumble or they forget who's on the other side of that technology or the screen. I do think that we spend a lot of time in that distanced communication whereas maybe we should spend a little bit more time in front of each other and actually practicing that communication in real time.
And that's an interesting point, because that's some of the things that we talked about in the previous segment. The communication, yes, it's evolving. Technology is definitely playing a huge role, but we have a lot more data. So we sometimes get overwhelmed, but with all the data, what do we communicate? What don't we communicate? Are we forgetting this? And just the simple example of, walking into a room to discuss something and then walking out, I'm like, I don't remember really what is it exactly that we need to do?
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about that yesterday, about the information and what do we do with it.
Yep.
From your perspective and based on what you know today, how did cultural intelligence, and I know it was a new concept to you coming into here, but then once you got into it, tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually been one of my favorite catchphrases now. It's funny, like just 2 nights ago, my boyfriend said, well, there's cultural intelligence, because I've been saying it so much, because once you realize what cultural intelligence is, you can see all of the misunderstandings and the things, or even the positive things that are happening in real time.
Right.
Whether somebody's adjusting the way that they're communicating based on their audience, that's cultural intelligence. It's
Absolutely.
super simple. Having to adjust based on like I'll talk to our technology developers probably differently than I would talk to Hannah in the office.
Absolutely.
Just because I'm speaking to 2 different audiences, and that's me culturally shifting in real time.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm sure we're going to have you again on the show. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This is Fathy Shetiah, your host on It's a People Problem on the Michigan Business Network.